The pre-sale for World Cup tickets is underway, but some fans are having second thoughts about attending with ticket prices reaching thousands of dollars. Now, fans have until January 13th to enter the draw. Unlike the past two draws, this time fans can pick the game they want to see. But many say the prices are outrageous. For example, Canada plays its first game in Toronto against a yet-to-be-determined European nation. Could be Italy, could be Wales, among others. The cheapest ticket, $1,300. The most expensive, more than $3,000. And football fans have described the prices as extortionate, and that the fan organization, Football Supporters Europe, is calling on FIFA to immediately halt ticket sales. For more on this, we're joined live by Ronan, Evian, Executive Director of Football Supporters Europe. He's talking to us from across the pond in France. Thanks for joining us here live on CP24 here in Toronto. Firstly, when did you start this group, the Football Supporters Europe? And is it goal about making football more affordable?
Yeah, we exist since 2008. We're registered in Germany, and we operate in all the UEFA region, the extended Europe. And yes, one of our goals is to make football welcoming for everyone and affordable, regardless of people's background, origin, path of life.
I'm a football fan as well. I've looked at, Premier League tickets. I've seen them, and I hear all the time from fans that the prices are very expensive. But I looked, and compared to, let's say, NFL tickets, you can get pretty good seats in somewhere like, I'm a Spurs fan, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. You can get tickets for like $100 Canadian. That's not too bad. But is it different when it comes to, other big, really big clubs like a PSG or maybe all those big tournaments that, the Euros or the World Cup? Is that when it really starts getting, extraordinary?
Well, there's always been expensive tickets, but there's always been a wide range of prices. To give you an example, for the price of the final, the cheapest price of a ticket of the final of the World Cup, you can buy a season ticket in Bayern Munich for 80 years. The final of the Euro in Germany, the cheapest tickets was 95 euros. So by imposing tickets in the above $40 we are for $40,000 sorry, for the final, we are really entering in a complete different era of football. And football is a working class sport. And almost as importantly, fans are part of the show, a part of the fabric of the game. So you need the life, you need the atmosphere coming from the stands. And with tickets ranging in that range of prices, FIFA is not going to get that part of the spectacle.
Yeah, and so compared to previous World Cups, are the prices you're seeing now for 2026 much higher than what's been experienced before?
Yeah, so it takes, for a fan of a national team, those tickets are not subject to dynamic ticket pricing, but it takes $6,900 at a minimum to follow your team all the way to the final. This is 5 times more expensive than Qatar. Now, we always expected some sort of an increase of the prices, but within an acceptable percentage. 5 times more expensive. It's completely unprecedented. That was unexpected. It took everybody by surprise, including the national football associations that will compete in the US, and that's why we're calling for FIFA to take to pause and reflect and consult, because this is an insult to the tradition, to the universality of this competition.
Do we think FIFA will do that? Like, I hope, I wish, because I talk to a lot of people, a lot of football fans here in Toronto who want to go to these matches. They see Germany taking on Ivory Coast, and they're not from either country, but they're like, hey, but I love the football that they play. I want to watch. But they look at the prices like, whoa, I can go to Europe and go on vacation with some of that. So do we actually think FIFA would actually do that? Do they have that self-awareness?
I think a lot of fans across the world are now reconsidering whether they will travel to the World Cup or not, because of ticket prices, but also the entry conditions in the US, the general lack of clarity as to what will be allowed during the competition or not. Obviously, us European fans, we're relatively well off compared to other parts of the world. But if you're from Ghana, for example, it will take you 600 days of the average daily income to buy tickets all the way to the finals to follow your team. So most of the world can't and won't be able to afford to attend the World Cup. So we hope FIFA hears this. This is all also in the hands of the national associations, the member FIFA association that we hope can raise this with the FIFA president and the top management. In the end, this is a decision that's been taken in a very small circle without really looking at the impact on the World Cup, on the perception of the World Cup in the world. The only thing that the world of football is discussing at the moment when it comes to the World Cup are the ticket prices. So hopefully this is seen as a warning sign by FIFA, and there's still time to do the right thing.
You know, for people who don't go in person, people, billions of people are going to be watching on TV. And you mentioned, those hardcore fans might not be able to afford to go. And yeah, those scenes of, groups of Croatians or people from Ghana or from Cameroon, in the stands making a lot of noise, we might not see that. So what would these prices do to maybe the vibes inside, but also what people see on TV? Could we see some empty stadiums? Because there's some big stadiums that these games are going to be played that fit 100,000 people.
I think that's a real risk that there will be empty seats. Gianni Infantino has said many times that the World Cup is more than 100 Super Bowls. It's not. Not every game is a top-level game. And then the tradition of football is very different from the one of the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is a one-off event. If you want to follow your team all the way to the final, it's 8 games. So this comparison is absurd. So yes, if most of the world is being priced out and FIFA only relies on the local population to fill in the stadiums, I don't think the demand is going to be there. We saw it during the Club World Cup. FIFA had to sell discounted tickets at the time of close to the game so that the stadiums were not too empty. So I think it's a real risk. And FIFA hasn't done any serious market studies or anything like this. At the moment, I think one of the most telling example of discussing with member groups yesterday, most people in Europe, and I imagine the rest of the world, don't even have $7,000 credit possibility to make a payment of $7,000 at once on their credit card. So they will need to go and speak to their bank, find a financial arrangement with their bank. This is not normal that you have to put yourself in such a situation to attend a football game. So people will travel some people will travel because this is football and this is not necessarily entirely rational. This is love for your team and so on. But I think a lot of people would put themselves at a serious financial risk to be able to attend the World Cup. It was always going to be an expensive World Cup because travels and accommodation in the US and Canada are expensive. But it was one price item that FIFA had control over, and that was the ticket price. And instead of making the reasonable decision to keep the tickets at an acceptable level so that the financial burden is not too high on traveling fans, they multiplied them by 5.
Right. Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah, tickets expensive, and also I'm sure everyone at the football supporters Europe also understand a lot of these stadiums aren't in the city that they're named after. Toronto is. You can get to it by transit. The other ones, it's not in Dallas. It's in a whole other town. And so the travel involved to get to some of these places without transit is going to be something else on top of all the other expenses. But hey, look, we do appreciate it. Hopefully we can chat as we gear up for the matches in just a couple months. Maybe we see a price drop. We'll have to see. But Ronan, we do appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.